Where did you grow up?
I grew up in Orange.
I grew up in Glebe, which is a suburb of Sydney.
Well, I grew up just out of Wagga on a farm, and I was there most of my life, came to Sydney for a while, and then, as I say, we moved back there after Sam was born.
In Sydney, Australia, Strathfield. But when I was 4.5, I lived in Hong Kong and was brought up with Chinese and English education in Hong Kong and didn't come back to Australia until I was 17.
Where was Murray born?
Murray was born in Cowra, in central west New South Wales. And we moved then to Orange when he was about 8 years old.
Where was Anthony born?
Anthony was born at King George V Hospital and Missenden Road, Camperdown. He was my 7th child.
Where was Jeff born?
He was born in Casino Memorial Hospital.
Where was Sam born?
Sam was born in Bankstown in Sydney, but when he was 5 months old, we moved back to Wagga, where I'd grown up, and all his childhood was in Wagga.
Do you have any other children?
Yes, I have 4 lovely sons and 3 lovely daughters. Patrick, Paul, John and Anthony, and Maria and Colleen and Anne.
There's Mealing, that's the eldest daughter, and then Megan, and then Hilton, his brother, and Jeffrey, and then Christy.
Yes, 2 others. Murray's the eldest, then Peter, 2 years younger, and then Fiona, 5 years after that.
I have a daughter, and she played the violin and sang as a child. She hasn't gone on to do it professionally, but she's a high school teacher, and you always use music and teaching, so hasn't gone astray, I'm sure.
What was Murray like as a young child?
He was a very good little boy. He wasn't too mischievous. He was a bit of a dreamer, I think. At school, I think his teacher used to have to prod him to keep him moving, but he'd look out the window and she'd think he didn't hear the question, and she'd fire the question at him and he'd just turn around and answer it. He was listening all the time.
What was Jeff like as a young child?
A very good kid and very quiet, keeps to himself, don't like to fight. He's still the same boy.
What was Sam like as a young child?
He was a lovely, laid-back, easygoing child, a very kind and considerate child, not a loud, aggressive boy at all.
What was Anthony like as a young child?
He was a quiet little boy. He loved music. I used to play the organ at the church for the choir and for Mass and for the missions and things. And Anthony was a little preschooler. I used to sit him beside me on the organ stool, and he used to put his little fingers over and do little grace notes and put his little feet on the pedals and make noises. Anyhow, one of the nuns said that she'd take him while I was playing for the Masses, and she lifted him off the stool and took him away, and he bit the nun. So in the end, I just had to have him back on the stool, and he was forbidden to touch anything. But he would have loved to have joined in, I think.
As a child, was Murray shy or an entertainer?
Oh, he wasn't an entertainer as such, but he certainly wasn't shy. He was a fairly confident boy, which was good.
Not an entertainer, but he was shy, keeps to himself, but he always worked things out on the quiet, or he might have some music and he works out how to put in the breaks and all that. He just worked things out. Very patient and worked things out himself.
As a child, was Sam shy or an entertainer?
He wasn't shy, really. He was fairly outgoing, and he liked to be on stage, but he was a little bit shy about being on stage too. He wasn't very confident at first, but he loved doing it.
I thought Anthony was very shy, but his father always said that he didn't walk into a room, Anthony always made an entrance.
Was there music around when he was growing up?
Not particularly in our house, except, records that like Frank Sinatra and all that good stuff.
Well, there was no videos then, and to entertain my children, I used to play the piano and sing to them and teach them songs, and they'd all dance, and yes, there was music wall to wall.
Well, when all the children were young, they all have to learn the piano, whether they like it or not, and they have to practice half an hour in the morning and half an hour after school before they can go out to play. So they were compelled to do that.
Yes, we both come from really musical families, so we always enjoyed music. We always had music playing. Sam always went to bed listening to nursery rhymes and things like that.
We had grandparents and relations that had pianos and pianolas, and he'd like to come with his mum and dad and the two little ones to a sing-along around the piano. So
We have a room downstairs, and it's got the amplifier and all the, Hilton, the eldest brother, he set it up, and it's loud as anything, and then they go turn it as loud as they can.
Well, we used to, his father didn't play an instrument, but he did sing, and he used to later on went in musicals and things like that, and some of his family sang. And I played a bit of piano, not great, but just enough to get by.
For Anthony's first Christmas, I bought him a record by the Beatles called She Loves You, and I used to sing She Loves You to him, and he'd sing the chorus of Yeah, Yeah, Yeah. He was only 7 months old then and sang it in perfect pitch, and I thought that was very clever.
Did he play an instrument, take any lessons, or have any other musical background?
Well, at school, in primary school, he played in the school band. He played a trombone, which was pretty ordinary, I tell you.
I let them have the training of piano first, but he likes to play the guitar.
All my children commenced an instrument at the age of 5, and Anthony had the violin, a little quarter-sized violin, and he loved it, and he used to walk around behind me playing me little bits and pieces and telling me to listen to this, Mum, listen to this. So he just got better and better at it.
The first music lessons he did when he was about 5, he wanted to play football, but he had to wait till he was 6. So I took him along to some pre-instrumental music classes that I saw advertised. I thought just to fill in the time, really. And he loved it. And after about the 3rd lesson, the teacher called me aside and said she'd never ever come across a child of his age who could sing so perfectly in tune. So I thought all children sang in tune, but apparently they don't.
Well, it's primary school. He was in school spectaculars, really. They played Fiddler on the Roof and A Sound of Music, which was called Maria. Of course, you couldn't call it The Sound of Music.
Probably in 2nd class, he fell off the balcony at school and broke his arm. And the nun who was teaching him rang me up and said, I hope it wasn't his bowing arm, because yes, he used to play all the time. And when he got to high school, he was in the college orchestra with his brother John.
When he was about 9, he was in a local production of The Music Man, and he played Winthrop, who had to play a cornet in the band. He just pretended. But after that was over, he asked if he could learn to play it, so he went along and learnt to play the cornet, and then when he got a bit older, he went on to the trumpet from there.
Other than that, he played a guitar. He always wanted to play a guitar, so we bought him one, and yes, he did have lessons, and he still plays it very well.
When he finished school, he went on to the Conservatorium in Sydney, which was just a last-minute thing. It wasn't something he thought all along he would do, but about the last 6 months of school, he just decided that was it, and he decided he'd go and do music education. So he went on to the Conservatorium in Sydney and studied that for a while.
And he often went to the bands to see the Cockroaches, of course. But he liked rock and roll bands, and he spent lots of nights going to pubs listening to bands.
Were you musical as a child?
Not at all. No. I sang in the church choir very badly.
Well, I only play by ear, I never learn.
yes, I was encouraged to play the piano. I did, and my father used to stand while I was practising and tell me to use expression. So it was all around us growing up.
Well, you know, I didn't do the dancing and the piano, but I don't think I had as much natural talent as what Sam has. But I enjoyed it.
What did you think he would grow up to be?
Well, I didn't really think about it, I don't think, but on reflection, I'd say probably a school teacher. I thought that would be the thing he'd like, and he did.
I was hoping he to grow up to look after the business, the family business, and learn accounting, economics. He did 2 years of it and he quit. He didn't like it, and he went and played in the band.
I thought he'd end up in computers because that's what he loved to do, but he'd gone through a lot of other things. He thought he was going to be an architect at one stage and a doctor, and as I say, it was only the last minute he thought, no, music's what I want. So,
a musician. I knew he was going to be a musician. His father always said to each one of our children, you've got to do what you like doing for your life's career, and I knew music was the thing that he loved the most.
What have you felt watching their success?
Well, naturally, I'm the mother. Of course, I'm proud of them.
Oh, it's just marvellous how it grew from such a small beginning, and how wonderful it is to see them enjoying what they're doing and entertaining the littlies.
It's very pleasing to know that he's doing something that he loves doing and making a living out of it.
oh, I think it's wonderful. They've done so well, and it's lovely to have him as a part of it.
And also, I love the way he's giving joy to so many thousands of children and parents and sick little children too. I think it's very pleasing.
Everything you hear from other people is so positive. People come up to you in the street and at work and say, I've just seen you on TV, or, you know, how much their children love it, and it's really nice.
What have the highlights been for you of the Wiggles' career?
Well, it's hard to say exactly what the highlights are.
Well, to go overseas and become so famous in Australia.
I was delighted when they were invited to NASA, and I loved seeing the pictures of them there.
Oh, I think it's great. I've really enjoyed seeing how it's developed and his chances he's had in it. And
all the accolades they get, mainly in the United States, but also they've received 2 honorary doctorates, one from the Catholic University and one from Macquarie University.
Going to their concerts at Christmas time and seeing how wonderful they're received, and see the little kids dancing and enjoying it, and we feel pretty proud.
What is your favourite Wiggles song and why?
Oh, well, I probably would have to say Play Your Guitar with Murray, because Murray's playing the guitar, isn't he? And very well, might I say.
I think I like the Black Velvet Band just because it shows off his voice, I guess, but there's lots of nice songs.
I love Rock-a-Bye Bear and Quack, 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 Cock-a-Doodle-Doo. Mainly, I think they're great, but Anthony wrote those, so they're special. And Johnny wrote, that's one of my other sons, he wrote Dorothy the Dinosaur and Hot Potato. And Paul wrote a couple of songs too, including Move Your Arms Like Henry. So they're all very special to me. I get thrilled when I hear them being played.
How important do you think music is to a child's development?
Well, I think it's very important.
Oh, it's most important, I think. As I said, I think it's just as important as reading and writing.
It all depends. If they musically inclined, they stick to it.
Helps their self-esteem and their development, their social development.
I think it's very important. I think it was really good for him when he was little, but I think it was especially important through his teenage years. I think it was wonderful for him to be able to join the bands and be social with other teenagers in a really sort of healthy environment, especially the school band camps and all those type of things. I think it's a really good thing for a teenager to do.
Because it develops the imagination, and I know when I've had sad things that happen in my life, music soothes me through it. You know, it's a comfort to me.
Like if they're lonely or if they was gone, you can fall on the music.
It's good to have a bit of rhythm in your life.